Human.
Very nice. Yes. Okay. Very good. I have a bit of a cough at the moment. I'm gonna have to do a COVID check. I've been coughing for 2 days now. Little tickly cough. Have to be careful. Right. So, Jai, please carry on.
Okay. Uddhava continued, the supreme benediction obtained by the gopis in spite of their being born in the families of cowherd men was never attained even by the goddess of fortune herself, and certainly not by the denizens of heaven. Though the bodily scent of the women there is exactly like the scent of the lotus. The gopis are so fortunate that during the Rasa Leela, Krishna personally embraced them with his arms and kissed them face to face. Certainly, it is not possible for any women in the three worlds to achieve this except the gopis.
Yeah, there you go. Who would like to be kissed by God?
Oh,
A big smacker on the lips from God. Yeah. So this is what is on offer here in the Sankirtan movement of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Never has this been given. Only once in a day of Brahma does such a benediction occur. Once in a day of Brahma. That's once every 8,640,000,000 years you get a chance to kiss God. Madhurya Bhakti is offered once every 8,640,000,000 years. Now, who is lucky? Who would say they're lucky? You see, because there's hundreds, thousands, millions of people they haven't even heard of Krishna yet. I was out there in Stoke one year, distributing books, Stoke City, and hardly anyone ever even heard of Krishna. I said, haven't you heard Hare Krishna? No, sorry, mate, never heard of him. Where does he live? Is he a local lad? Stoke City, never forget it. No one heard of Krishna. Wow. So what to speak of getting the mercy of the Lord? So that is what's on offer here. We're very, very fortunate. Carry on then, Shamarani, from there.
Uddhava appreciated the exalted position of the gopis and wished to fall down and take the dust of their feet on his head.
paragraph before that, Shamrani.
Therefore I wish.
Oh, this is the one I have in this book.
Okay.
Can you continue, Jai, for now?
Okay.
Yeah, please, Phil.
Therefore, I wish to take birth as one of the plants or creepers in Vrindavan, who are so fortunate that the gopis trample them. The gopis are so lovingly served. The gopis have so lovingly served Krishna, Mukunda himself, the giver of liberation, who is searched after by great sages and saintly persons. For his sake, they've left everything, their families, their children, their friends, their homes, and all the worldly connections.
Okay, carry on, Shamarani.
Uddhava appreciated the exalted position of the gopis and wished to fall down and take the dust of their feet on his head. Yet he dared not ask the gopis to ask the dust from their feet. Perhaps they would not be agreeable. Therefore, to have these heads smeared with the dust of the gopis, feet without their knowledge, he desired to become only an insignificant clump of grass or herbs in the land of Vrindavan.
This is extreme humility to become a herb or a piece of grass. And it shows the greatness of one's consciousness, greatness of one's mentality, is that one is prepared to become an insignificant piece of grass. Next time you go out walking, have a look at the grass. Take a look at the grass and consider that Uddhava, being a great friend of Krishna, who has achieved Sarupya Mukti, having a similar form of the Lord, a very exalted position, he is prepared to take on the form of a piece of grass or a herb, so the gopis may trample him. So this is the greatness of achieving the love of God. Carry on, Alex.
The gopis were so much attracted to Krishna that they heard the vibration of his flute. They instantly left their homes, families, children, honor, and feminine bashfulness and ran towards the place where Krishna was standing. They did not consider whether they were passing over the road or through the jungles. Imperceptibly, the dust of their feet was bestowed on their small grasses and herbs of Vrindavan. Not daring to place the dust of the gopis' feet on his own head in this life, Uddhava aspired to have a future birth in Vrindavan. In the position of a clump of grass or herbs, he would then be able to have the dust of the gopis' feet.
Yeah, so this is inconceivable to us in our conditioned state. Some of us may have realization. The first time I read this, I didn't actually. The first time I heard this was in Vrindavan, and a devotee called Dhruva Maharaj, Prabhupada's disciple, took us to one Govinda Kund in Vrindavan, and he was telling us the story, this particular story of Uddhava wishing to take on the form of a clump of grass or a herb, and aspiring to take birth as a clump of, and it was just, I thought, wow, I don't fancy that. You know, my big enjoying mentality, my big enjoying brain. Oh, I don't fancy becoming a clump of, what's the fun in that? So over the years, you start appreciating and understanding things on much higher levels. And Uddhava is a liberated pure soul and can take on any form. Actually, the living entity can, by the mercy of the of the Lord, excuse me, cough, can take on any form. Ultimately, okay. Let's welcome Jigna and Ramesh Bhai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. And Archana Shamji. Welcome, Archana. So, Jigna, can you take the next paragraph?
Hare Krishna, everyone.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Uddhava appreciated the extraordinary fortune of the gopis, who were relieved of real pangs of anxiety by placing on their beautiful high breasts the lotus feet of Krishna, which were worshipped not only by the goddess of fortune, but by such exalted demigods as Brahma and Lord Shiva, and which great yogis meditate upon within their hearts. Thus, Uddhava prayed to be constantly honored by the dust from the lotus feet of the gopis, whose chanting of Lord Krishna's transcendental pastimes has become celebrated all over the three worlds.
Carry on.
Okay. After living in Vrindavan for some time, Uddhava desired to go back to Krishna, and he begged permission to leave from Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda. He had a farewell meeting with the gopis, and taking permission from them also, he mounted his chariot to start for Mathura. When Uddhava
No, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah, I'm just looking at the paragraph here and looking at the wordings, and yes, he's appreciating. He's really Uddhava's there with these young girls, and they can see how much they are completely taken by Krishna. Completely, their hearts are completely taken by the Lord, and they have nothing in their heart but Krishna. So he's really getting not only appreciation but great realizations and he's aspiring, actually, by wanting to become a clump of grass, he's realizing that even he cannot attain the state of pure love that the gopis have for the Lord. So in humility, he's aspiring to become such a small, insignificant thing as a clump of grass. Okay, Ramesh Bhai, when Uddhava,
I think he's not, he doesn't have the,
Archana,
Sri
Uddhava.
Uddhava confirm
Oh,
Lord Krishna. Sorry?
Bolo Bhai,
This is-
Bolo.
Yeah. Sri Uddhava confirmed Lord Krishna's statement in Bhagavad Gita that one who takes shelter of him for the right purpose, be that person a Sudra, a woman or a member of a low grade family, will attain the highest goal of life. The Gopi have set the standard of devotion for the whole world. One who follow in the footsteps of the Gopi by constantly thinking of Krishna can attain the highest perfectional stage of spiritual life. The Gopi were born not of any highly cultured family, but of the cowherd man. Yet they developed the highest love of Krishna, who is the super soul, the super personality of Godhead, and the supreme Brahma. For self-realization or God realization, there is no need to take birth in high family. The only things needed is development of the ecstatic love of God. For achieving perfection in Krishna consciousness, no qualification is required other than to be constantly engaged in the lovely service of Krishna. The supreme nectar, the reservoir of all pleasure. The effect of taking up Krishna consciousness is just like that of drinking nectar, with or without one's knowledge. It will act, the active principle of Krishna consciousness will equally manifest itself everywhere. It does not matter how and where one has taken his birth, Krishna will bestow his benediction upon anyone who take to Krishna consciousness without any doubt.
Very nice. Thank you, Prabhu. Okay, so who can read now when Uddhava was about to leave? Go on, Alex.
When Uddhava was about to leave, all the inhabitants of Vrindavan, headed by Maharaja Nandana and Yashoda, came to bid him goodbye and presented him with various kinds of valuable goods secured in Vrindavan. They expressed their feelings with tears in their eyes due to intense attachment for Krishna. All of them desired a benediction from Uddhava. They decided to always remember the glorious activities of Krishna and wanted their minds to be always fixed upon his lotus feet, their words to be always engaged in glorifying him, and their bodies to be always engaged in bowing down as they constantly remembered him. This prayer of the inhabitants of Vrindavan is the super excellent type of self-realization. The method is very simple: to fix the mind always on the lotus feet of Krishna, to talk always of Krishna without passing on to any other subject matter, and to engage the body in Krishna's service constantly. Especially in the human form of life, one should engage his life, resources, words, and intelligence for the service of the Lord. Only such activities can elevate a human being to the highest level of perfection. This is the verdict of all authorities. Jai Shri Krishna.
Very nice, very nice. And that means 24 hours a day, as Rupa Goswami has recommended in the Upadeshamrita. One should engage very nicely 24 hours a day in hearing, chanting, and
Hearing,
re
listening,
Reading. Remembering, sorry.
remembering. Yes, yes. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atma, Nivedanam. So hearing and chanting and remembering.
What's beautiful about this is when he says super excellent type of self-realization. Super
Yes.
excellent.
Yeah, because it's subliminal, and
Yeah.
it's very, once you get to a certain level, it's very easy to always remember Krishna. It's just if you love someone, it's as simple as this. If you love someone, you fall in love with someone. You're just thinking of that person all the time. You know, how many songs are on the radio? I just can't get you out of my head. You know, what's her name? Minogue? Kylie Minogue. I can't get you out of my head. Yeah. It's about Krishna.
Yeah.
They don't know it. They don't know it. That song was about Krishna, the gopis. I just can't get you out of. Just imagine the gopis singing that in Vrindavan. Well, don't imagine it. but it is there. These songs, majority of songs I hear here and there, it's about Krishna. It's about Radha. It's about the relationship between Krishna and Radha, and Krishna and the gopis. So much, because that is the real love. There's the real thing. And we can enter into that if we want to. We can enter into it. And even as a spectator, even to be on the outside, like Uddhava, he was just hearing about it. He was just like, you know, getting a little glimpse into, and he was in so much ecstasy, he wanted to become a clump of grass to take the dust of the gopis' feet, so that he would feel that love. By taking the dust of their feet, he gets the bhakti. I've told you that story. I went to, who's been to Radha Govinda Ji in Jaipur? Yes, Jai? Archana? Radha Govinda Ji? Jaipur? Shama? Mani? No? Well, we have to get you over there. This is a serious problem. Jigna? Jaipur?
No.
No?
Yes,
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 Ramesh Bhai. Ramesh Bhai's been there. Dada's been there.
yes,
Yes, Bhai. Jaipur. So you
Yes,
go to
yes.
Jaipur, and there's so much bhakti from the people for the arti. It's amazing. You know, very spontaneous the people are coming to see Radha Govinda Ji. They absolutely love Radha Govinda. And Radha Govinda Dev Ji is the name of the deities. Rupa Goswami's personal deities. And taken by Jai Singh, he came to Vrindavan when Aurangzeb attacked Vrindavan and demolished the temple. They were taken out of Vrindavan, and they were saved. Those deities were saved from the hands of the Rakshasa called Aurangzeb. And the Jaipur darshan I had was when I did the Parikram one year, 1992. And I told you about this before, didn't I? I went around doing Dandavat Parikram. When I did the Dandavat Parikram, all the dust, you see, from the people walking around was there, and it went on my forehead. And after that, after I finished, I felt, I don't know how to explain it. I just felt ecstatic. Yeah, I just felt ecstatic. I just did this Dandavat parigram. Mahakratu Prabhu, who was with me, he didn't do it for some reason. He said we'll both do it, and I did it. But I just felt completely ecstatic. And then I was thinking, why am I feeling so great after doing that? It was because all the dust of all the people was there, and their bhakti is in that dust. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur sung a song about the dust of the lotus feet of the Vaishnava. Who knows that song, Bhajan? Who knows the name of it? Okay, at least you should know the name. It's called Shuddha Bhakta. Shuddha Bhakta. Charan Renu. Shuddha Bhakta Charana Renu Bhajana Anukula Param Bhakta Seva Paramasiddhi Prema Latikaramula. That's how it goes, something like that. And it's about the lotus feet, the dust from the lotus feet of the pure devotees is our food. It's our actual food. And it's our sustenance. So when you get a chance, next time you visit Jaipur, maybe we'll take you there. Maybe we'll take you there and we'll stop off in Dubai. Who would like to stop off in Dubai and go to see Radha Govindaji?
See that?
Yes?
Yes, but yeah.
Damodar Desh. This is my trip. You see, when I go to India, I go to Damodar Desh, a free holiday. Damodar Desh, there for 4 or 5 days. They give us accommodation. We go to the restaurant, Govindaji's or Gopalji's restaurant. There's 2 restaurants there owned by devotees. One is a Sindhi devotee. And then we do some programs and we fly to India. And then they have a huge program on a Friday, which now they've turned it now to a Sunday. They've changed now. The weekend in the UAE isn't Thursday, Friday. It's actually Saturday and Sunday now. They've changed it. So on the Sunday, I have a huge program at the hall. Around 400 or 500 people in the hall. Huge. And then kirtans, 2 or 3 times a day, I'm doing programs there. They squeeze everything out of me. Squeeze me dry, they do when I'm there. Kakya, you're coming here today. Tomorrow, you're going to be in the morning there. Then at 1 o'clock, you're there. Then then at night time, you're there. Because they want the bhajan, they want the music, kirtan. And then go to Jaipur, and then we can go on that parikaram and do the Dandavat Parikram. Who would like to do a Dandavat Parikram in Jaipur around Radha Govindaji? Come on, Archana. Yeah, come on. Ramesh Bhai. Dandavat Parikram chair.
No.
Jigna.
Yes.
I recommend it for anyone that particular deity parikram around the deities inside. Wow, it knocked me out. It really knocked me out. So taking the dust. So this is what he wants. This is what Uddhava wants now. He wants to take the dust. So who's going to do the next paragraph? Let's ask Shamarani. Shamarani, go on, do the next one. Vanuddhava was no, we've just done that one. The inhabitants of Vrindavan. Go on.
The inhabitants of Vrindavan said, by the will of the Supreme Authority and according to the results of our own work, We may take our birth anywhere. It doesn't matter where you are born. Our only prayer is that we may simply be engaged in Krishna consciousness. A pure devotee of Lord Krishna never desired to be promoted to the heavenly planet or even to Vaikuntha or Goloka Vrindavan, because he has no desire for his own personal satisfaction. A pure devotee regarded both heaven and hell to be an equal level. Without Krishna, heaven is hell, and with Krishna, hell is heaven.
Ooh, wow, what a statement.
Mm.
Can you repeat that, please, Archana? Without Krishna,
Without Krishna, heaven is hell, and with Krishna, hell is heaven.
hey Jigna, go ahead, you can do it as well.
Without Krishna, heaven is hell, and with Krishna, hell is heaven.
And Jai Prakash, go ahead.
Without Krishna, heaven is hell, and with Krishna, hell is heaven.
Well, and Ramesh Bhai, Bolo Bhai. Oh, I see. Wait just a minute. Maybe he hasn't got it there. Without Krishna, heaven is hell. With Krishna, hell is heaven. That is a very profound statement.
Mm.
And that is reflected by the statement by Lord Shiva to Parvati in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the 6th canto. Who's got a Srimad Bhagavatam there? Who's got a set of Bhagavatams? Oh, yes, Jai, you've got a set?
Heaven is
I
heaven.
have a set, but I haven't got it here.
No,
in
no,
my
no, no. I'm just saying, who's got one at home?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're actually doing a Thursday Sangha on Bhagavatam at the moment. We're in Canto 2.
Okay. Tough canto, that is.
Yeah,
Technical, very tough canto, but it's good to read it.
yeah.
So in 6th canto, chapter 17, text number 28, Lord Shiva says to Parvati, after cursing, she cursed Maharaj Chitraketu to become an asura in his next life. He became Vritasura. So the Chitraketu Maharaj, he accepted the shrap, the curse of Parvati very happily. And then Lord Shiva says about him, he said, Narayana Parasarve na kutaschana bibyati swag apavarga narakesh vapi tulyata darshinaha. So you can have a look online. Ooh, Srimad Bhagavatam 6:17-28, and to see what he said. You can have a look later. Okay, I'm not going to tell you, but it's a famous verse by Lord Shiva glorifying Maharaj Chitraketu. Okay?
Without Krishna, heaven is hell. And
Oh.
with Krishna, hell is heaven.
Thank you, Ramesh Bhai. Haribol.
Haribol.
Okay, so now let's ask Jai to finish the chapter. When Uddhava,
When Uddhava had been fully honored and worshipped by the pure devotees of Vrindavan, he returned to Mathura and to his master Krishna. After offering respects by bowing down before Lord Krishna and Balaram, he described the wonderful devotional life of the inhabitants of Vrindavan. Then he presented to Vasudeva, Krishna's father, and Ugrasen, Krishna's grandfather, all the gifts given by the inhabitants of Vrindavan. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of 47th chapter of Krishna, delivery of the message of Krishna and the gopis. Jai.
Jai, very nice. Very nice. And he delivered the gifts from Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda to Vasudeva and Ugrasena. Very nice. So next chapter now is called Krishna Pleases His Devotees. For days together, Krishna heard from Uddhava all the details of his visit to Vrindavan, especially the condition of his father and mother, and of the gopis and the cowherd boys. Lord Krishna was fully satisfied that Uddhava was able to solace them by his instructions and by the message delivered to them. Jigna, go ahead.
Sorry. Lord Krishna then decided to go to the house of Kubja, the hunchback woman who had pleased him by offering him sandalwood pulp when he was entering the city of Mathura. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna always tries to please his devotees as much as the devotees try to please Krishna. As the devotees always think of Krishna within their hearts, Krishna also thinks of his devotees within himself. When Kubja was converted into a beautiful society girl, she wanted Krishna to come to her place so that she could try to receive and worship him in her own way. Society girls generally try to satisfy their clients by offering their bodies for the men to enjoy. But this society girl, Kubja, was actually captivated by a lust to satisfy her senses with Krishna. When Krishna desired to go to the house of Kubja, he certainly had no desire for sense gratification. By supplying the sandalwood pulp to Krishna, Kubja had already satisfied his senses. On the plea of her sense gratification, however, he decided to go to her house, not actually for sense gratification, but to turn her into a pure devotee. Krishna is always served by many thousands of goddesses of fortune. Therefore, he has no need to satisfy his senses by going to a society girl. But because he is kind to everyone, he decided to go there. It is said that the moon does not withhold its shining from the courtyard of a crooked person. Similarly, Krishna's transcendental mercy is never denied to anyone who has rendered service unto him, whether through lust, anger, fear, or pure love. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is stated that if one wants to serve Krishna and at the same time wants to satisfy his own lusty desires, Krishna will handle the situation so that the devotee forgets his lusty desires and becomes fully purified and constantly engaged in the service of the Lord.
Oh, very nice. So Krishna now is going to Kubja. Kubja's famous because she had a hunchback, you see. So Krishna, previously, when he entered Mathura, he had lifted Kubja's under her chin and lifted her up, and she became very beautiful to look at. She'd be a beautiful woman. And of course, you know, the beauty of a woman is very powerful. In fact, Lord Narayan, he tells Lord Shiva, I think it's in the story of Mohini Murti in the 8th canto, and he said that my Maya, there is nothing more powerful than my Maya in the form of a beautiful woman. Even Shiva and Brahma are influenced by the beauty of a beautiful woman. So only person who is exempt is Narayan himself. And of course, in the 11th canto, or is it the 12th? I think it's the 12th. There's a story of Narayan Rishi and how Cupid, Kamadev, had tried to break his vow of meditation. And he had sent so many beautiful heavenly apsaras to Menaka and Purvachiti and all these beautiful females that are not a regular like me. I'd be bamboozled. I'd be like, you know, I'd be gone, head's gone. But Narayan Rishi, because he was a manifestation of the Lord himself, he, out of his own body, produced incredible, beautiful celestial women of Vaikuntha who made these heavenly maidens look like frogs. It's explained that they look like a frog. You know what a frog is? So he made them look like a frog. How beautiful. So the Lord is always above these things. So the Lord now is going to Kubja's house. So let's ask Archana to do the next paragraph. Go on, Archana.
Hare Krishna. To fulfill his promise, Krishna, along with Uddhava, went to the house of Kubja, who was very eager to get Krishna for the satisfaction of her lusty desire. When Krishna reached her house, he saw that it was completely decorated in a way to excite the lusty desire of a man. This suggests that there were many nude pictures, on top of which were canopy and flags embroidered with pearl necklaces, along with comfortable beads and cushioned chairs. The rooms were provided with flower garlands and were nicely scented with incense and sprinkled with sense water. And the rooms were illuminated by nice lamps.
Yeah, so this is all set up now. Krishna's getting set up by Kubja. Kubja is now falling in love with Krishna, you see, but Kubja's love is not the same as the gopis' love. We can see this here, that Kubja's love is contaminated with her own desire to satisfy the senses, you see. So there's some contamination. Krishna wants to remove this contamination now. So this is what the difference is between Kubja's love for Krishna and the gopis' love. Gopis' love is unconditional, and there's no thought in their mind for them to enjoy Krishna. It's a different mentality. It's pure service and pure love for that person. Closest thing is a mother for the child. That's what Prabhupada is giving the example of. Kubja, she is all set up. As we can see, there was all the pictures are there. So when you walk in, you know, oh wow. So there's even pornography was existing at that time of within this world with Krishna. And of course, we've already read about on Shivaratri, we read about the goddess Kotara, who Banasura was worshipping. And in order to protect Banasura, she appeared on the battlefield with long hair and naked. And Krishna turned away from her. He didn't like to see the naked woman there. So he turned away and Banasura could escape. So the interaction here between gopis and Krishna is purely on the transcendental platform. It's a different thing altogether. So let's ask Alex to go when Kubja saw.
Hare Krishna. When Kubja saw that the Lord Krishna had come to her house to fulfill his promised visit, she immediately got up from her chair to receive him cordially. Accompanied by her many girlfriends, she began to talk with him and with great respect and honor. After offering him a nice place to sit, she worshipped Lord Krishna in a manner just were suitable to her position. Uddhava was similarly received by Kubja and her girlfriends, but he did not want to sit on an equal level with Krishna, and thus he simply sat down on the floor.
Okay, so Uddhava's there now with Krishna. So let's go to the next one. Let's ask Jigna. No, not Jigna. Ramesh Bhai, as one usually does.
As one usually does in such situation, Krishna entered the bedroom of Kubja without wasting time. In the meantime, Kubja took her bath and shimmered her body with sandalwood pulp. She dressed herself with nice garment, valuable jewelry, ornament, and flower garland. After chewing betel nut and other intoxicating eatables and spraying herself with scents, she appeared before Krishna. Her smiling glance and moving eyebrow were full of feminine bashfulness, and she stood gracefully before Lord Krishna, who is known as Madhava, the husband of the goddess of fortune. When Krishna saw Kubja hesitating to come before him, he immediately caught hold of her hand, which was decorated with bangles. With great affection, he dragged her near him and made her sit by his side, simply by having previously supplied pulp of sandalwood to the Supreme Lord. Krishna Kubja became free from all sinful reaction and eligible to enjoy with him. She then took Krishna lotus feet and placed them on her breasts, which were burning with the blazing fire of lust. By smiling the fragrance of Krishna lotus feet, she was immediately relieved of all lusty desire. She was thus allowed to embrace Krishna with her arm and mitigated her long cherished desire to have him as a visitor in her house.
Oh, wow, amazing. Well, Kubja is really getting Krishna's mercy now. And she's, her business is to satisfy the men. She's expert in satisfying men. This is what the society girls are. And she wants to satisfy Krishna, but just by serving Krishna and touching Krishna, all her sinful reactions have been taken away. So let's see what it said here. Go ahead, John.
It is stated in the Bhagavad Gita that one must be freed of all material sinful reactions before one can engage in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. Simply by supplying sandalwood pulp to Krishna, Kubja was thus rewarded. She was not trained to worship Krishna in any other way. Therefore, she wanted to satisfy him by a profession. It is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita that the Lord can be worshipped even by one's profession, if it is sincerely offered for the pleasure of the Lord. Kubja told Krishna, "My dear friend, kindly remain with me for at least a few days and enjoy with me, my dear long lotus-eyed friend. I cannot leave you immediately. Please grant my request."
As stated in the Vedic versions, the Supreme Personality of Godhead has multi-potencies. According to expert opinion, Kubja represents the Bhu Shakti, potency of Krishna, just as Srimati Radharani represents his Chit Shakti. Although Kubja requested Krishna to remain with her for some days, Krishna politely impressed upon her that it was not possible for him to stay. Krishna visits the material world occasionally, whereas his connection with the spiritual world is eternal. Krishna is always present either in the Vaikuntha planets or in Goloka Vrindavan planet. The technical term of his presence in the spiritual world is Aprakrita Lila. So let's go to Shamarani here. After satisfying Kubja,
After satisfying Kubja with sweet words, Krishna returned home with Uddhava. There is a warning in the Srimad Bhagavatam that Krishna is not very easily worshipped, for he is the supreme personality of Godhead, the chief among the Vishnu Tattvas. To worship Krishna or have association with him is not very easy. Specifically, there is a warning for devotees attracted to Krishna through conjugal love. It is not good for them to desire sense gratification by direct association with Krishna. Actually, the activities of sense gratification are material. In the spiritual world, there are symptoms like kissing and embracing, but there is no sense gratificatory process as it exists in the material world. This warning is specifically for those known as Sahajya, who takes it for granted that Krishna is an ordinary human being. They desire to enjoy sex life with him in a perverted way. In a spiritual relationship, sense gratification is most insignificant. Anyone who desires a relationship of perverted sense gratification with Krishna must be considered less intelligent. His mentality requires to be reformed.
very good. Yeah, this is the point because the senses that this is an important point because the senses that we have are never satisfied. You can never satisfy these senses. It's impossible. They'll always demand and demand and demand. So we are to satisfy the senses. This is sense gratification. We're trying to satisfy something that's insatiable. It's impossible. So with Krishna, in Krishna consciousness, one in contact with Krishna is experiencing ananda, is blissful. And the spirit soul by nature is always full of bliss. Sat Chit Ananda. So because the liberated souls, they're always overflowing with happiness and pleasure. It's like there's no question of having to satisfy senses. You see, we are trying to satisfy the senses, but there's no need in the spiritual world to satisfy the senses because you're feeling much more happier than what any sense gratification can give you. You're floating in an ocean of bliss. Who would like to float in an ocean of bliss? Archana? Archana, yeah? Floating in an ocean of bliss. Floating, flying, just completely blissed out. So there's no question of sense gratification. It's very insignificant. There's no question. You're fully satisfied. It's like, even it comes down to this. And it's hard for me to say this, but even when you're fully satisfied, you wouldn't even want to eat Archana's bakris. Now that's saying something. When you're when you're fully satisfied, even the most tastiest, delicious food stuff, you just don't want it. You just had enough. Who's experienced this? That you've eaten and then you've had enough, and someone's offered, oh, I forgot the cake. I forgot the gatto. And you say, oh, I'm sorry. I can't eat. Give me a crumb. Who's experienced something like this? You can't even think of eating a little bit more. You've had enough. So it's like that in Krishna consciousness. You're so satisfied. There's no question of, having to satisfy the senses. It's like a joke. in spirit, when in spiritual. But the Sahajiyas, they tried to drag this Leelas down to their perverted level because they're still interested in sense gratification. Sahajiya means cheap. They take everything very cheaply. They don't understand you have to go through tapasya, you have to give up your sensual happiness, those sensual pleasures, you have to sacrifice those things in order to attain Krishna's mercy. And that's what the verse is in the Bhagavad Gita. Who knows that verse? Famous verse. Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinaha raso vajam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate. The devotees of the Lord may be restricted from sense gratification, though the taste for such sense objects remains, but by ceasing such sense gratification activity and engaging in devotional service, one experiences a higher taste, param drishtva. So we'll finish on that point. Any questions?
Quick question, Prabhu.
Yeah, we're starting after a while is the next part, yeah? After a while. Is that the next part?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
So in my day-to-day relationship with Krishna, I'm not asking him for anything, but he seems to give a lot of attention to people who ask him for things. I mean, just to read this paragraph, and then I think of Arjuna as well. I mean, it's only when he asked Krishna to help. Krishna wasn't there to like interfere and offer advice, or he, unless you ask. I'm just thinking, have I not been doing this bhakti the right way, where I need to ask him for things?
No, because sometimes Krishna will give you, he'll give people what they want sometimes.
Yeah.
There's a famous verse, Sarva Kama Va, Moksha Kama Udharadi. So, people want calm, they have desires.
Yeah.
Swaga calm, they want to go to heaven, they want to enjoy in this world, they want moksha, etc. So Krishna knows their desire. He may give it to those. He may give you something. He may not give you, like you want money. I've come to Krishna conscious. I want to make a lot of money. I deep in my heart.
Yeah.
Well,
it's not.
I mean, listen now. It's there. I've seen it happening, and Krishna may give it them. He may give them that, but he won't give them the love.
Yeah.
And then the thing is that Krishna, the example of someone who badly needed money, he badly needed help, but he didn't ask for it, is who? He's from Gujarat, from Porbandar.
Sudama.
Sudama.
Yeah.
Sudama Vipra, he badly, desperately needed some money from Krishna.
Yeah.
He went there with this chidda rice.
Yeah.
He offered Krishna, and just by Krishna taking one or two pieces of this chid, he turned his home without asking for it. He turned his home into a beautiful palace full of the most amazing Indranila gems and all kinds of valuables. So Krishna may give that if one is qualified and will not misuse it. Our problem is that we misuse things. We get carried away. If Krishna gave me a lot of money, I'd get carried away with it. I'd be down the Bahamas, I would. I'd be surfing.
I don't think so, Prabhu. I don't think you'll be doing that, even with a lot of money.
So the point is, the example is that when we change, we don't know. Those desires are there deep down, And sometimes opportunity comes and we get carried. I give you an example before we finish. In 1993, I was asked to go to America to do 4 months preaching in Washington because I'm a musician. So they said, come on over and do some music with us, and you can talk to the guests, and people will, they'll be good. So every day we were going to the Washington Mall outside the Airspace Musician every day, 4 months, except for once a week on Monday we'd have a Monday off. And we were doing this preaching, and we was going down there to the mall. I got explaining that. I've forgotten the point. What was the point I was going to make?
Just in terms of wishing what you wanted to, having money. I think it was about money. Like, if you had money, that you would be somehow changed, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then what I did is that a devotee in London, he'd come from Algeria. Okay. And his name was Kamal. He was Algerian. He was Muslim. He had become a devotee, and he played the saxophone.
Okay.
So I said, well, Kamal, I said, you're here at the manor. You're not doing much. I said, I'll tell Gunagai Swami about you, and you can come over. And he said, yeah, I'd love to come. Oh, it'd be great. So we sorted out his saxophone, and we got it fixed, and he was going to play the saxophone. Took him there. He came and played the saxophone for about 3 days, and suddenly he was gone. Bad idea. He had got there, he'd seen the situation, and the desires deep in the heart came up, and he just disappeared. He was gone, and I've never seen him since. So, we don't know how we react. I know why Krishna keeps me impoverished. He keeps me down. He keeps me there quite tight because, he's protecting me. But when we're ready, he can give you everything. This is how it is. So there's no kind of judging externalisms in Krishna. You see a situation. It's all about how qualified one is internally, and Krishna will give you lots, or he'll give you nothing.
But is it okay to ask Krishna to be at the service of his lotus feet every day?
Yeah,
because I'm requesting.
Yeah, you can ask for that. Not ask for anything. But if you feel you need something, then you can ask Krishna for his advice, and go to the deity and speak to Krishna and say, Krishna, I'm trying to give up sense gratification. I'm trying this. I'm trying, but I get very confused. What do you think? What do you think is the best thing for me? You please put me in the right ashram where I learn. I learn and I'll do the best thing. So we can ask Krishna to help us. You see. Overcoming the desire for sense gratification is a losing battle. Okay, it's a losing battle. Only Krishna can help us. Only Krishna. We can never overcome the desire for sense gratification ourselves. It's impossible. Maya's too strong. And even if you overcome it, you overcome sense gratification, you're controlling your senses and you're fasting, and then you become proud of it. Then we're caught again. And then when you're proud, you fall down. So only but Krishna can help us. So on that happy note, I'll say, Hare Krishna. All right, thank you, Ramesh Bhai. Abar Bhai, Abar. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hope you feel better soon. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, a little tickly cough. Take care, and we'll see you
soon.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol, Ramesh Bhai. Hari Bol.